welcome to Simplify TV. I'm David McBee. Our guest today is Matt Brandenburg, who is the CMO of Clutch Solutions and the CEO of Clutch Solutions Brandendo, a full-service digital agency offering everything from SEO to CTV. Matt has a diverse background in advertising and marketing. From radio to Yellow Pages, he has been, in his own words, on the cusp of various dying mediums before moving on to the digital playground we live in today. Worth mentioning, Clutch Solutions was the 2022 CRN Triple Crown Award winner and was recognized as a top 50 company on Inc. 5000's fast growth list. Matt, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, David. I really appreciate it.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. I want to jump into like what you're doing that makes you win these awards and is making your company grow so fast. Tell me about that.
Sure. Yeah. So I was fortunate enough to be brought into the Clutch team about 2 years ago. Clutch has really just done a really good job of hiring really good quality people. What's nice about Clutch, other than the leadership and the culture they've created, is we also are Indigenous owned. So as an Indigenous owned and recognized MBE business, we get the opportunities to work with lots of other MBE owned companies. And also we work and do a lot of fulfillment with the various tribes. And because Clutch is traditionally what's called a VAR, or value added reseller, they were always looking at things of what they could do to offer additional services. So one of those services they wanted to start doing and offering was marketing. So they acquired my little agency, brought my team over, and then we started Brandendo together, and then had me come in on the marketing side for Clutch directly. And because of that, we were able to then start offering marketing solutions to different tribes and other larger businesses as well. So we kind of get the best of both worlds, which is kind of nice. We get to go and work on the enterprise side with Clutch, get to work with all of these different tribes, and Brandendo does the fulfillment, obviously, but then we're also able to work with, medium to small size businesses as well. So we're able to really have a diverse portfolio with the individuals we get to work with.
All right. So forgive me if this is a dumb question, but are you advertising Indigenous businesses to Indigenous people or Indigenous businesses to the community?
Both. So everyone's going to have, it's like any other business, right? So everybody's going to have what their own unique marketing purpose is. So we'll have, for instance, like one tribe where we just build the website for them, and then they want to do promotions of, what they need to do for, like, here's a good example, like during COVID, getting information out to the people on where to get vaccinations, where to go and get healthcare if needed. So you have a lot of things for, Indigenous folks themselves, but then outside the space where we're letting other people know that there's these businesses that are on tribal land that they could actually go to. So it's really kind of both sides of it.
And I assume that geofencing is a part of that strategy sometimes?
Yeah, geofencing is a huge piece of it. Geofencing, and what we're seeing a lot more of too, is the OTT and CTV, obviously, because you have a lot of these tribal lands where they might have traditional cable, but a lot of them are cord cutters already. So you're able to go in OTT and CTV in a lot of tribal lands. It's really, really effective.
All right, let's shift gears a little bit and talk more generically about your success. What is it that makes Matt Brandenburg successful?
Well, it's being okay to fail is a big thing. I could proudly say that I have had big companies and bankrupted them. And I think that is something that a lot of people would look at it and, be a little bit embarrassed about. But I have this mentality that is a little bit different that I wish more people had. And that is every day I wake up and I go and I annoy my children and I say, hey, what's your PMA today? Your positive mental attitude. And it's a cheesy thing to say, but I am a real firm believer that you get to choose how you're going to start every single day and how that day is going to go. Now, you're going to have things thrown at you and there's going to be curveballs, but if you go and handle it with a smile and a laugh, you're going to be okay. The other aspect of that is this, and this is just in the line of business as a whole. And it's another thing that I annoy my daughters with on a regular basis. And I say it's the best thing about money. You know what the best thing about money is, David?
What?
You can always make more of it. So if you keep that mentality that you can always make more of it, you don't harp on the fact that, yeah, I lost a $30 million company. You don't harp on that. What you do is you harp on, hey, I can make 30 million more. So you look at the wins on that side of it, and you're able to rebuild. So I have one failure. I've rebuilt something to be even more massive. And that's what we're really trying to do right now. We're building something that is going to be very, very significant. And this is a new world for me on this side. I've always been a white label guy. I've always done fulfillment. We always did fulfillment for all these different groups that we've gotten to work with. So they're coming to us for the SEO. They come to us to run the display advertising or the OTT and CTV. So that's always been our background. That's still really kind of the core of our business now. But we're doing this shift, which I'm, new to me, which is we're becoming more brand focused on the Brandendo side. Now, Clutch was easy because Clutch had an established brand. So just kind of riding the coattails to that has been a fun process where, because it's a known brand, everyone says, oh, the marketing's great. Well, the reality is they did all the work. I'm just riding the coattails of these guys, to the very top. But now we're going to Brandendo and we're really trying to make that into an established brand. And so there's a learning curve, right? When you're actually talking about yourself and patting yourself on the back, it's something I'm uncomfortable with, to be completely frank, but it's something that we're getting some traction with, which is nice.
I love that answer. PMA, huh? Positive mental attitude.
PMA, baby. It changes everything. It really does, because you run into people who don't have that mentality, and you see it. And it's, you surround yourself with people. It's cliche that, mom always said, surround yourself with people that are good influences. And it's a true story, right? Like if you surround yourself with people that are going to be negative all the time, traditionally you're going to see that the businesses are going to suffer.
All right, so I'm going to guess you're a reader. I ask everyone what book they want to recommend. So I'm sure you have one or two.
The one that I am a huge fan of, and this is going to be an oddball one, is Ender's Game. Have you ever read the book Ender's Game? Orson Scott Card, Ender's Game.
Yeah, that's sci-fi.
Correct. And here's why. If you read that from a business point of view, it will actually go and it will change your alignment and thinking when it comes to a lot of things. So there's a scene in the book, right, or a part of the book where Ender gets taken on by a bully. And he goes and gets a final hit in where unfortunately he goes and exterminates said bully, right? That's one part. So spoiler, I apologize. And they ask him, Ender, why did you do that? And he said, well, I didn't want to win the battle. I wanted to win the war. And that line in that book has stuck with me for years, that if you're going to do something, do it for the long term. Don't do it for the short term. So it's an underrated book, especially if you're looking at it from a business point of view.
Well, I have to confess, not only have I read Ender's Game, I've read several of the Ender's sequels. So
amazing. I've read them all.
I never thought of them as a business book, but now I'm gonna have to go back and consider that. Powerful stuff.
You have to go through each one because each one has a different lesson. And it's I mean, the movies were a travesty. I don't care what anybody says. That could have been the greatest series ever, but they just tried to rush it. I mean, the story of Peter, right? Peter and himself, like he's a dictator and running everything the way he was doing it, being very manipulative. I mean, you look at the parallels of that business and today's society, and it's pretty interesting.
Well, thanks for that odd recommendation. I appreciate it. And thank you for being a guest today on Simplified TV.
Well, thanks for having me. It was an absolute pleasure.
And thank you guys for joining us on Simplified TV. I'm David McBee. Be awesome. We'll see you next time.